I think the AC on my Tesla Model Y is starting to die. See, Rosie here is my 2021 Model Y Performance. She's got almost 100,000 miles on her. And last week, I got in really big trouble with my wife. Let me tell you a little bit more inside. See, as you get older and you're married for a long time, you have a perimenopausal wife, she does not want to get hot.
Why is it so damn hot in here?
It was in the 100 and teens here in Phoenix. She calls me from the car, clearly unhappy, saying that the AC is not turning on. And of course, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. You can't do anything right in these situations. I said, did you make sure the AC was on?
Yes, of course the AC is on.
I checked on my app and it showed that it was 110 degrees in the cabin, like 20 minutes into her drive home. I knew that when she got home, I was going to be in really big trouble. You see, a week prior, I was coming home from the grocery store and I noticed normally it's an ice box in here and it just wasn't cooling like it was supposed to until just before we got home. Now, it's a short drive, but even still, I had cabin overheat on, I turned the air on from inside the store before I came outside, and even still, it was blowing at like 85 degrees. So of course, after my wife brought the car home, I jumped into service alerts. I wanted to see if there were any faults, and holy macaroni, were there some faults.
We got one today too, by the way.
Do we have a fault today too?
Yep.
July 15th? Yep, we have the same fault today. So here's our fault. It's a hard isentropic TD. I'm not very smart. The vehicle controller detects the isentropic check of the refrigerant, yada, 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 yada. Basically what this fault says is, I don't really know what I'm doing. I think that one of two things is happening. There's a low refrigerant charge, which means that the compressor can't achieve the pressure differential and temperatures that it's supposed to, or two, the compressor is actually failing. Now, I went ahead and I went into the performance test on the car. I ran an HVAC performance test and it passed twice. And the air is in fact working sometimes. I have seen a few more times where this fault has shown up and the air has kind of worked moderately. But for my wife, when she got home, the compressor was in failure mode and the high voltage disconnect had turned it off. So that means honestly one thing. Basically, it means that if I don't want to throw thousands of dollars at parts at this, I need to go see the pros. You know who exactly I'm talking about. All right, we're here at Serenity EV in Surprise, Arizona. If you didn't know, well, now you do, that this is the place to go if you're in the Phoenix Valley. You've got an EV of any kind that needs work. We're out in the shop. John's gonna be coming out to give us a hand here and figuring out what's going on. And out here, we've got a Model S with an AC problem, another Model S with an AC problem, Model 3 with an AC problem, and my Model Y. So I'm in the car with John. He's gonna run us through basically what he looks at to figure out where we need to go next.
First thing I do is we typically go through faults, and you can see that there's this thermodynamic process fault. Basically, this line here that says indicating AC compressor mass flow rate is below the expected level. Jason and I both just determined that the compressor's not doing the compressor stuff. I see this all the time, and that's effectively what it ends up being. So after we leave that, then what I do is I go through the thermal screen. I utilize all three of these selections, but we start here because this is a visualization of the actual heat pump system. So this is your super manifold. These are all the different components that are a part of that manifold. This is the compressor, and this shows you the flow of the Freon and its different states. The compressor is right now happy, running at 7,100 RPM. Max RPM is 9,000, so this can go up to 9, but it's highly dependent on various factors that the car takes in: ambient temperature, overall pressure, humidity levels, all kinds of different stuff. As of right now, what I like to do first is I put it full pop, so I make sure AC's on, I put it in the front vents here, and then I make sure recirc is on, and I make sure the windows in the car, in the cabin, are all closed, because that's going to help the system operate in ideal conditions, because it's going to suck in the air from here and then reject that heat out of the air that's inside the cabin, which will allow the system to slowly and better cool the cabin over time. So what I look at is your pressures. What I like to see is the suction side at 3 bar. It can go lower, which lower is good. Right now we're sitting at 4, so that is above that happy state that I like to see. So that's definitely an indicator, but not an absolute nail in the coffin on what's going on here.
Could the suction be high because it's 103 and 80% humidity in here?
Right, that's exactly right. So it's all those different things, and without getting into like the science behind all this stuff, this is purely experience based while understanding the system on what I've seen across probably over 100 of these now as I view them. And this is what I come up with. Is what I want to see is 3 bar here, and then I want to see this anywhere between the temperature of the suction between -3 and +3 C. And then the discharge, this is great. 19 bar is awesome. 108 C is actually kind of high given the factors that you just brought up. This is a little bit high, and that may be speaking to because this is high, the suction pressure is a little higher than expected. Even though the discharge pressure is in a good known state, we typically see that anywhere between 17 to 23. 24 is the border. If we see 24 bar, what ends up happening is we'll watch the RPM on the compressor ramp up and ramp down, because what it's trying to do is manage that pressure. You'll watch these two valves open and close to help exchange heat and reduce the heat overall to try and get that pressure back down. 25 is when immediately this will ramp down. 25 bar is like 300 PSI or something crazy like that, or 350 PSI. It's too high, and so what the compressor will do, which is the right thing, is that it'll ramp down its speed in order to save itself. And that's what you want to happen. Simply, the most common issue of a high discharge pressure condition is the radiator being blocked.
Our radiator's clean here, but with the thermal discharge fault, what we might be having the problem is we're seeing a high pressure here because it's not pulling enough. So maybe in the compressor, the two sides are bleeding across to one another.
Right, and what's leading to that and telling us that may be an issue are these high temperatures. So that's where you look at the temperature. So you can have great pressures, but then your temperatures aren't really in line with where they should be. Given what we have, 104 degrees in the shop, and then it's relatively high humidity because we run swamp coolers in here to try and cool down, and we do live in Phoenix, so it's hot in general. This shouldn't be that high. So that higher temp is telling me that there's something going on internally. And now you couple that or connect it back to that isentropic fault failure, and that's all pointing towards an internal issue with the compressor.
I'm fairly certain that folks that are watching this right now have seen this fault down here on the bottom. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen this fault outside of the internet, and this happened as soon as we pulled it into the shop. And you probably saw it when John was going through to our service alerts, and we just got an isentropic fault while we were sitting here.
Yeah.
It did it. And so we have the SOC limiting, max charge level, and replace battery. The way that they say this is horrible. Well, just tell me, kick me in the butt already. This means my battery just died, didn't it?
It did. So
you don't have to laugh so hard, bro. Bro.
It was just because of what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Car drove in, it was fine.
Car drove into shop. Fault started.
Yeah, we have some kind of weird geofence. This is the wrong kind of failure that I want, because I don't want to do battery packs. But luckily, you said that you're under warranty.
I'm under warranty.
So
yeah.
this is just a time issue now.
I hope.
So just to go in a little bit here,
there's the BMS spread right there.
Right. So anytime you see the little heartbeat signal here, that's going to have data associated with it. So you'll see the actual signal. It says alert payload. These are signals within this message packet.
All right, so here's the game plan. We're gonna have to get the battery fixed, and we're gonna have to order some parts. John has had a real itching feeling to do the unthinkable and pull a compressor apart. Unthinkable. Basically, we want to do mechanic things and see if we can actually fix it. So he found a rebuild kit online for, $180. We're gonna get this ordered up, and we're gonna actually pull the compressor apart and rebuild it and show you if you could do it at home. Now, obviously, he's the pro. He's got the equipment. What is it, 1234YF? You shouldn't, no, not shouldn't. You cannot release that stuff in the atmosphere. So you need a buddy with a machine to suck it all out first before you do anything. That's paramount. But besides that, what else are we gonna replace?
The desiccant cartridge, so in the super manifold is the plastic desiccant, and then we're also going to likely end up replacing one of the EXV valves, which is that thing I was talking about earlier about that meters the flow of refrigerant in the super manifold.
That means you gotta stay tuned for part 2 when we actually pull this thing apart. Hopefully by that point I have a new battery in the car and potentially a new windshield since I've got the Tesla glass coverage, and we'll see if we can't make the AC work again. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. If you're in the Phoenix Valley, come out to Serenity EV, see John, Josh, and Gunnar. They'll get you set up just right on any type of EV, not just Teslas. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Do you want me touching the hood or not touching the hood? You gotta hold the papers. Damn it, it's hot out here.